Yeah, somebody keeps updating it. Yeah, we're optimistic here down in Miami.
How are you? That's the first step. I leave it in that room.
Where is it?
Yeah, you, Richard. Every time I leave that jacket in there.
I don't know where that.
I'm telling you.
And I wear,
Or glitter.
there is so much, and I wear glitter.
Do you really? Maybe you're the one spreading it.
Oh, not to work. I don't really wear glitter to work.
We haven't been doing any women's makeup, so there's been no shimmer in the makeup room. Any of that.
Production assistant.
Right? At the club. I'm too old to go to the club.
Not down here.
Down there with my little.
Are you kidding me?
Back killing me.
If I was gonna say every time I've been
By older people. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can. We can see it. The camera won't read it, but it's still like, where is it coming from?
Every time I leave it in that room, come back and pick it up. Yeah. His glitter. He does it like when he gets ready. It's like LeBron when he throws it. It's glitter though. That'd be badass actually.
there's a little less on the front, I guess.
Sounds like fun, I guess. Glitter everywhere. Good. How are you? He's gonna clip it on. Yeah, I think he got distracted by the glitter. Yeah. And let's hey Rob, let's iris down a little bit. I noticed yesterday it was kind of hot. First, and second of all, I want to get rid of the bottom of the desk because it's not framing right when we're cutting them up. And what's happening is my head's too close to the top, and too much of the center of the screen is the desk, not me. Okay. Yeah, don't tilt up. Yeah, go up with the camera. Okay.
1, 2, 3,
Better.
4, 5,
Much better.
7, 9, 10.
Like that. What's that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's the good news. I'm hogging it all. Taking all. I found all the glitter apparently. The cleaning lady's in there. She's mops, glitter, mops, glitter. It's like having Tinkerbell. Fantastic. Carlos, can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly clear. Good afternoon.
Fantastic. Appreciate you doing this. We're going to try to fit it right here into your time slot.
Excellent. Thank you.
We'll get started here in like 1 minute. To my left? That's what threw me off. Yes. The additional quarter. Okay. Standing by. Joining me now to discuss is Carlos Trujillo. He is the former ambassador to the Organization of American States. And Carlos, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the comments that were made. You know, it seems like the media really wanted this Puerto Rico joke that was made by this comedian at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally to become such a big deal. But honestly, as I look at it, it doesn't seem to be catching on with anyone except for kind of white liberals who seem to be upset. But for the most part, it doesn't seem to have much traction here.
Well, it's a comedian who made a joke that some people find offensive, some people don't. But I think what's very clear, that was a comedian who made that joke. President Biden, in his own words, called Trump supporters garbage. That's not a comedian. That's not a spokesperson. That's not a third party. That's the president of the United States referring to 70 plus million Americans who will come out and support President Trump in the next 5 days as garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. And the comment, as you said, came directly from his own lips, as opposed to the fact that Trump didn't make the comment about Puerto Rico at all, wasn't even in the building, actually, at the time that the comment was made. I want to ask you, though, about Pennsylvania, right? There's a lot going on there, as we've been talking about throughout this show. Voters who are being turned away. Early voting numbers for Republicans are unprecedented in terms of how many Republicans are turning out. And yet the state seems to be almost intentionally denying people the ability to vote early, even though they're encouraged to do so. How do you see what's happening in Pennsylvania playing out?
I think the margin is going to be so large in President Trump's favor that regardless of some of the gamemanship you've seen played by some of the supervisors of elections, it's not going to change the outcome. You look at the trend lines in Pennsylvania, you look at the amount of support and enthusiasm that President Trump currently enjoys in Pennsylvania, it's going to lead to a remarkable victory come Tuesday.
We know there is a lawsuit that was announced last night by the Trump campaign that they're filing a lawsuit in Pennsylvania over this. Help people to understand, what does that mean? I mean, what can actually happen with a lawsuit like that?
Well, what the campaign's going to look to do is to seek an injunction to immediately, an injunction, what it'll do, it'll stop the bad behavior that's currently occurring and preclude it from occurring going forward. So the campaign's been very aggressive, very organized, really led by Laura Trump on having a robust legal team to make sure that every single vote is counted and only people who are legal citizens of this country are allowed to vote.
You know, you mentioned the enthusiasm gap between the Harris campaign and the Trump campaign. There definitely seems to be a gap there in terms of enthusiasm. But now in terms of voter turnout, right? The voter turnout for Republicans in every single swing state seems to be inordinately high right now. As we move towards Election Day, you said you believe that the gap is going to be, as some people are calling it, maybe too big to rig. I'll give you the final word here.
Well, if you see it in Florida, that I know very well, Miami-Dade County right now, President Trump, the largest county in Florida, it has a 12-point advantage. Never in my time following Republican politics in the state of Florida has the margin been that large. In Pennsylvania, at this point in history, in 2021, Biden had about a 600,000 vote advantage. Today, it's less than 100,000 for Kamala Harris. So I think these margins are going to be absolutely historic. I think we're going to have an early night on Tuesday, and President Trump will be victorious.
Well, we only have a few days to find out. Carlos Trujillo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want me to just do the close here too, then? Might as well just do that. And that is our show. You can catch all the latest coverage on the race. Check us out on X at @truth_media and watch all of our full episodes right now at truthandmedia.com. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Oh. Well, I hope everything he just said happens. She is. No, he's winning all swing states in terms of the polling. Early votes, Republicans are leading in every swing state except for Pennsylvania.
Oh, except.
So but as he said, they have like a 2-to-1 advantage in terms of voters. So, but again, you overcome that by whether or not on election day and then leading up to it, Republicans. So I think what he was saying was the early voting gap between him and Biden was 600,000 votes.
Yeah.
Now it's only 100,000. 100,000 votes on election day to overcome that, not hard to do. Now, it's also not hard to cheat your way out of that, too. We just need to pull 30,000 votes under the table. Here you go. There they are. Oh, well, okay, so good news. The Supreme Court, it looks like, took up the Virginia thing and said you can remove them from the rolls. You cannot be stopped. So they overrode the injunction there that stops them from removing them. So that's positive. Right, they're not supposed to be. And remember, these are all people who self-identified on their documents that said, I'm not a citizen. So yeah, the idea that you couldn't do that is big. Oh, here we go again. What is what? Yeah. True. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I gotta show you. I gotta see that. Okay. Here we go. Reports of voter suppression are casting a shadow over Pennsylvania, a state that could very well tip the scales on the future of our nation. We're talking about long lines where frustrated voters are being turned away, some even finding themselves in handcuffs simply for trying to exercise their democratic right to vote. I'm Ben Swan. This is Truth in Media. What you just saw there is voter suppression happening in broad daylight in Pennsylvania on the last day of early voting. GOP officials are now swinging back with a massive lawsuit, claiming officials in Pennsylvania's Bucks County are blocking long lines of voters from making their voices heard. So why are these voters being turned away? Well, we don't know for sure, but here's what we do know. In these areas where the turnout seems to heavily favor Trump, people are waiting up to 3 hours in line, and voting centers say they simply can't handle the amount of people. You got to be kidding. Telling people to leave because they didn't have the capacity for all the early votes. The state had 4 years to prepare for early voting, and if you didn't have enough people on day 1 or day 2 or day 3, why did you not bring in more staff? If voters show up, they should be allowed to cast their ballots. No exceptions. One RNC official in the state was even arrested after telling voters to stay in line no matter what. Well, now the Trump campaign says voter suppression is rampant throughout the state. This is especially critical in Pennsylvania. We've been telling you, it is maybe the key battleground state. Voters here are blue-collar, everyday workers. They can't afford to take 2 days off from work to make it to the polls. And Republicans are especially angry about this since the numbers show early voting in Pennsylvania among Republicans is higher than ever before. Excitement across the state is astonishing. And if you don't believe me, just ask Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman. Yeah, and if you turn on the mainstream networks, you won't see this mentioned anywhere. Are you surprised? They're still talking about the bad joke told on stage at Trump's rally days ago, giving platforms to comments like this. So a comedian makes a joke about a place, but current sitting president Joe Biden goes ahead and labels at least 75 million Americans as garbage. And there's no outrage. And it's not like we haven't seen this before. Remember Hillary Clinton called Trump voters deplorables in 2016? Kamala called them fascists just last week. And all of that is given a pass from a party that claims to represent unity. That's it. Easiest show ever. Just like, good. Cool. We're doing a podcast. So I don't need these no more. To watch what again?
The last thing I want to do is go home and sit like.
Oh, right, exactly.